Good afternoon and welcome to Oaka Partner Insights. It's absolutely lovely to see so many friendly faces on the call, or just at least images, if not faces. Do feel free to jump on camera if you want to. Thank you for bearing with us with the cheesy video. We do like to play it at the start just to make sure everyone's got time to join and to just give you a bit of a flavour as to who we are here at Oaka. Thank you again for spending the next 45 minutes with us. For those of you that haven't joined an Oaka Partner Insights before, we run a monthly catch-up that's designed to bring together the community of business applications, modern work or AI business solutions, security, the full breadth of the Microsoft partner ecosystem. And the overall goal is to give you some real whistle-stop or deep dive insight into the key themes and challenges we see the partners that we work with face on a monthly basis. It's supported by our newsletter, so do feel free to jump over onto LinkedIn and hit subscribe on our Oaka Partner Insights newsletter for if you learn in a slightly different way and you want to get your information that way. And also do feel free to connect with Tamara and I on LinkedIn too. For those of you that haven't met us individually, hi, lovely to meet you. My name's Lucy. I'm the director, one of the directors over here at Oaka. My history is all around supporting partners to scale their presence within Microsoft, strengthen their sales and go-to-market strategy and grow their practice. And I'm joined by my fabulous colleague T or Tamara, as it's her friends.
Hi guys, I think most know a good deal of you, but my history brings a rich sales and partnership experience, running sales teams and building partner programs globally and working effectively with Microsoft. So that's my background.
So this session is designed to be as collaborative as possible. Feel free to use the chat, feel free to use the Q&A. We'll try and either pick them up as we go along, or we'll make sure that there's time at the end of the session to capture them. If we can't answer it, we will get back to you. There's inevitably always one question that we can't answer, but I can see that Lindsay Klims is also on the phone and she's also a superhero. So we'll lean on her if we can't answer it, T. Not to worry. Yes. Okay, so today's session is all around mastering Solutions Partner Designations. This topic keeps coming up and up with the partners that we engage with. And I guess the reason why we wanted to do yet another session on it is there are always changes. Every financial year, Microsoft kind of like throws the rule book up into the air as to how they interact with their partners. And we do our best as Oaka to kind of translate what that means to you as partners and how it's going to impact, most importantly, your bottom line or what you need to adjust within your organization to make it work for you. And as always, we try and give you a kind of pragmatic view as to what you should be considering and how you should be considering implementing that into your organization. So for those of you that haven't met us before as Oaka, we have a really simple mission statement, and that is that we support partners through advisory, coaching and executing support across building your strength within your vendor relationships. By that we mean Microsoft, we don't really talk any other vendor. Developing your practice strategy and supporting your sales growth. And to do that, we've created our own IP, which we call the Partner Accelerate Framework, which gives us this kind of structured mechanism with which to assess you on how you are, what you're doing, and most importantly, the key areas within which we can support you to grow and improve. But in terms of today, enough about us. We wanted to just summarise the kind of key questions we had kept hearing from partners. I'll whistle you through these and I'm going to get the most obvious ones out of the way. We don't know where to get started with funding from Microsoft. Most of you will probably be aware that the first port of call with getting funding from Microsoft, or at least programmatic activity-based funding that you can start building into your sales cycle, is by having the right kind of blue ticks against your name as a partner. The first step of that is solution designations. The next step of that is specializations. And now we're going to talk about some other things that have been introduced in FY26 that are kind of where we feel it's likely that the community is going to go and likely where Microsoft are going to look at you for a minimum standard of engagement with your partnership with Microsoft. We speak to a lot of partners that think that getting a designation is out of their reach, and we want to try and myth bust that a little bit today and think about other mechanisms that you could be thinking about. We always love this one. Can I renew my gold or silver competency? If anyone was on the IAMCP call earlier in the week, I had a bit of a rant about this. We still see this everywhere, don't we, T?
Yes.
It's a bit of a bugbear. It's all right if we walk into an office and we see like a gold and silver competency statue on the coffee table. okay, that's fine. But if it's still on your website or your signature blocks or, in blog posts or whatever, just be really conscious that, it's been nearly 3 years now since
I would say
that's
let's not even be really conscious. Let's get rid of it ASAP, Rocky.
I was being diplomatic. But you're quite right. Wipe it off. And we're not even able to renew now, so it's not even a thing. I just realised that we've put the same question twice about feeling like the solution designation is out of reach. It's because we hear it quite a lot, so that's why it's there twice. But we also hear, we're struggling to understand how we can best buy licensing to use within our business, and actually quite often getting a solution designation is kind of an easy way to get some of that and to optimize costs within your operations org of your business. And then often there's a lot of changes, often also spelt with an E, forgive the typo. And we often get the question, should we even bother? And I think there's many points throughout today's session where we'll discuss, from our perspective, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is the effort worth it in the long run? And we always keep that in the forefront of our minds in the context of your wider business goals. So today we're going to cover some of the key themes, look at what's new, and as always, we've got a whole host of things we want you to go and take action on. So in the words of Donna Sarkar, we will be volunteering you to do a bunch of things, or at least have a look within your organisation. So in terms of new and what's coming, the first two are facts. The second point, or the third point, sorry, is kind of conjecture or our feeling of, to use the words of Rich Shipton, the mood music that's coming out of Microsoft. There is a new Solution Partner Designation. In fact, there's a couple, and there are some new benefits, and we'll take you through what they look like in a moment. But from all of the news and updates in the Microsoft Cloud and AI Partner Programme that have dropped over the last 6 months since the start of Microsoft's financial year 26, what it feels like to us is that there is a shift away from just getting a number of customers and just getting a number of deployments or a number of people in your organization certified, more to like this living and breathing partnership that isn't just assessed on an annual basis. It feels like it's going to be more of a kind of live assessment of, are you continually showing up in the right way to Microsoft through the metrics that they care about to help maintain your relationship with them? And we've seen this in like Copilot Jumpstart, where you're assessed on a really regular basis as to whether you're driving monthly active usage, etc. And it just feels like, to us, that's the kind of direction of travel. Are you constantly showing up in the right way? And if you're not, then we're going to pause the benefits we associate you as a partner for that. That's what it feels like. Pure conjecture, but we're definitely seeing it from some of the Jumpstart programs. And then kind of second point on that is it feels like, there's been over the last couple of years a move away from different types of customer association to make sure you're getting the recognition for the deployments you've done for your customers. We've moved away from DPOR, partner of record, all the way to this kind of CPOR methodology, and there's multiple different types of CPOR. Spoiler alert, we'll cover that later. It feels like there is a move to want to become more centralized with that within Microsoft. It's complicated as it stands, God bless them, at the moment. It feels like that might be becoming slightly easier going forward. As always, don't be afraid in the background to download the Solutions Partner Benefits Guide. We're going to be referring to it later, so it's worth having it in your downloads folder if you want to scroll later on. Particularly to the benefits that are dropping in February. So if you download that guide and navigate to page 43, that's page 43, you will see a whole list of all of the new benefits associated to the solution designations you either have or you're just about to get or you're looking to attain or it's on your roadmap. And actually, whilst it might be seemingly slightly more complicated to have a solutions designation or a relationship or a partnership with Microsoft, it does actually feel like the benefits really are ramping up to support that. So do go and peruse at your leisure. But T, can you just take us through a little bit more about one of the new key drops in FY26, the Frontier Partner Badge?
Yes, I think we've got a few partners that are on the route, on the way to getting this now. That's really exciting, and I think again, looking at what the Frontier badge means, it to us, it looks like initially there was the designations that we needed to get to differentiate ourselves, and then the specializations really kind of enabled us to show our technical capacity and capability. It now feels like the level on top of that's going to be the Frontier badge. There are, I think there are about 16 or 17 firms globally when it was launched that were ready, and a lot getting close. So it's not going to be easy to attain. There are some partners that focus on security and some that focus on biz apps. It's not going to be at the moment. I don't see an easy route to possibility for partners that have an individual focus, because of the prerequisites which are kind of detailed here. So you need, from a designations perspective, you need 3. So either modern work or biz apps. And then again, we have a feeling that these potentially are going to merge at some point soon, this year, in Partner Center and in designations, in the same way the teams have merged into AIBS. So first of all, we need one of those. We also need a data and AI, or a digital and app innovation or infrastructure, and then there's going to be security as well. So that's not easy to attain for focused solution area partners. We then got the specializations that you need to earn. So that's, Copilot, AI apps, AI platform or agentic DevOps, and then data security. So this is not going to be an easy path, and for some it's just not going to be attainable. But we thought we would mention it anyway, because we know that as I said, we've got some partners that are well on the way and hoping to receive this membership soon. Just in case you are on that journey and it is a possibility for you, you don't actually have to do anything. You're automatically signed up once you hit all of the things that you need to hit. So one point just to make sure is that everybody's Partner Center details are updated for the admin. Otherwise, Microsoft might get in touch and you might not know.
Yeah, it's a key flag from us constantly. Make sure your marketing contacts and your technical contacts are up to date, because that's where you're going to get notified by this if you're not, like us, spending a significant proportion of your day actually directly in Partner Center. I guess the other flag from me, from like a kind of generic taking a step back point of view, is it feels like this Frontier Partner Badge has been made for partners that have the breadth of capability across those key solution areas, and that they may be partnering with other organizations that have that subject matter expertise. So I just, it feels like that kind of almost VAR distributor feel to me, that this has been what that's made for. But obviously, Frontier being the key terminology that Microsoft are using to define their agentic or AI messaging, it feels like obviously this is going to be a key focus from them. One small catch from me, and I learned this just yesterday, so this is hot off the press, that marketplace and partner recognition and your partner profile that's visible on Microsoft Marketplace, as of yet, this Frontier badge does not show. So just be aware of that. I'm sure that's kind of momentarily about to land, but just a quick flag technically on that point. My understanding is also that if you have attained your Frontier badge, you will also be prioritized in search within the Microsoft Marketplace environment. So just a key couple of flags on that. And the next solution designation, we've included some Q&A on here. We're not going to go through this word for word, but as always, the recording and the deck will be shared afterwards. So do feel free to have a peruse at your leisure. The next designation that landed for FY26, T, do you want to take us through that?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just responding to the chat as well. I was quite excited when I saw this and wanted to include it. There were some catches, and you can go and download this. Obviously, we've just lifted this from a Microsoft deck and brought it in so that we can share it with you today. But yeah, I was really excited about this. We work with so many partners that do a fantastic job of supporting their partners, and that's really their differentiator. So I was really excited to see this. As I went through some of the slides, there are going to be some challenges again for some partners to attain it. But if we I don't want to go into too much depth with these, Liz, because there's about 6 or 7 slides and I couldn't work out which ones to include and which ones to drop out. So obviously it was launched at Ignite in November, a new designation that's available. I think the next slide says when it is actually going to be. No, we'll come to that in a moment. Yes, there we go. Available today. Oh,
sorry, T.
That's okay. Sorry, that's the benefits. Go back. I'm jumping. Sorry, Luce.
That's all right. I'll be Chris Whitty.
Thank you. So helping to drive value through the ecosystem from actually delivering a fantastic service towards the end clients, is kind of the focus for this designation. I'm not going to read. We all know my reading's not the best with my dyslexic brain, so I won't try and read this and just give you guys a minute to take a look. Then we start to look at the benefits for the designated partners and the incentives that you're going to be able to unlock and the enhanced support that's going to be available to partners that secure this designation.
And I guess the key kind of flag to pull out is that you will be able to apply for this or work towards this designation officially through Partner Centre in the second half of FY26. So soon is what we're anticipating.
That's right. And I think it's the next slide, the one that had caught my eyes, Luce. So the prerequisites and the qualification criteria. So must have an active support contract, fine. But the CSP authorization was a bit of a surprise for me. Indirect resellers are not eligible.
Yeah, and I guess the support plan is quite an interesting one as well. We see more and more focus from Microsoft on the direction of travel being that partners have their own dedicated support plan directly with Microsoft in the form of ASFP or PSFP. I don't know if anyone can attest to this on the call, but we're certainly seeing kind of varied feedback on that particular topic. But I guess, again, it's one of those kind of means to an end. And we'll talk about how, as a partner, we're going to take a bit of a step back in a moment as a partner, how you decide which solution designations and the journey to those solution designations is going to make the most sense to you, dependent on the cost to attain and also the benefits you're going to then get out the back of it. But we'll talk to that in just a moment.
Also, it was one of the things I wanted to take back to the team at Arrow, if they have achieved certain designations, the partners that were, so if you have a disty and they have managed to secure the frontier firm or the services designation, is working with them going to help open the possibilities and the potential through them, and that's something we just need to clarify.
Yeah, we'll absolutely feedback on this chat. Okay, so the final kind of key thing that we wanted to highlight that landed and has landed and feels like it's getting even more coherent in FY26 is the AI partner skilling hub, kind of designed to be this kind of real centralized area for understanding not just the certifications that your team need to get in order to attain a solution designation, but really what exams, credibility, training courses that your team should be going on. And I think this is particularly pertinent as I look at the delegates on the call. Most partners are coming at the conversation of AI and what are our service offerings around agentic capability, Copilot Studio, Copilot Chat, M365 Copilot, Agent 365, you name it. I'll drop all the product names in there. They're coming at it from a kind of almost biased background. They're either in a managed services provider that's used to providing support to their customers, or they're a business applications partner or an AI business solutions partner that's used to having large, longer term professional services agreements with their customers. For all of these kind of varied biases and backgrounds, the journey to training your team onto an agentic workload is going to be slightly different, as is your go-to-market strategy, as is the offerings that you're going to take to market. And so I think use the Partner Skilling Hub as a centralized repository for ensuring your developers, your functional consultants, your business analysts are at the same level and have the same level of understanding as to how you're going to take your agentic capability to market.
And what I loved about this as well, Luce, is like I found previously that, you know, there's so much training for technical people, you know, like there is, depending on the solution area, there's infinite. The roles that you just referenced there are really used to getting their training, getting their badges, getting their certifications. But it was a bit light on sales and pre-sales, and they're really starting to fill out with training and support for the whole, like across the breadth of the organization now, which, you know, I think is a real kind of improvement. We had Catalyst before and we had certain things, but for me, you know, your whole business needs to be able to work with helping a business transform with AI, you know, from the technical people implementing it to the sales and pre-sales people really being able to understand the challenges and the benefits.
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, we're really strong advocates here at Oaka for that whole like catalyst methodology and helping your team to draw out the outcomes that your customers looking to achieve with whatever technology or services you guys are looking to implement. And so when this skilling hub landed and we saw the focus on training kind of your forward facing, your customer facing teams, it was kind of music to our ears, wasn't it, T? So yeah, do go and have a deep dive into that if you haven't yet, and we'll make sure the link is in the chat. But now we've talked about all of the new news that's dropped and what you should be aware of since Ignite, since the second half of FY26. We wanted to just take a bit of a step back and talk about the why. Now, again, for those of you that are on the IAMCP call a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of days ago, sorry, I spent a little bit of time on this because I think it's really easy for kind of to go on, you know, Microsoft facing webinars and to read, learn and to understand, you know, from a partner center perspective, what your gap is to attaining solution designation. But I really wanted to just spend a bit of time on focusing on the why. And I'm going to whistle through these, just some might be more obvious than others, but so that we're all clear what's in it for you guys. Well, firstly, and we talked to this briefly earlier, it's obviously the key route to unlocking Microsoft funding. And as we talked to again, you know, it's often the first step to being able to unlock Microsoft funding and additional licensing incentives as well. In an ever busier market, it helps you to provide credibility and strengthen your differentiation within that market. You know, because it is slightly harder, emphasis on the word slightly, to attain solution designations. There's more you can attain. It really does help to differentiate your positioning. And more we're seeing customers put a requirement on partners as part of bids and tenders, requests for proposals, etc., for them to have these solution partner designations as like a bare minimum. Thirdly, it demonstrates and rewards ultimately your true customer impact. We know that you can't attain these without proving that you've had positive impact on your customers. And so it's by definition a demonstration of that. It allows you to access a whole ton of marketing and marketplace benefits, the new ones of which we highlighted on page 43 of the benefits guide. It can also, of course, help to cut down your internal licensing costs. And one plea for me, it's very, very easy to go and have a look at the SaaS-based licensing that you can attain as part of your solution designations, but do also go and have a look at the Azure credit and the associated downloadable licensing that you can go and use as well. It's often a miss from a partner perspective, as well as some of the technical pre-sales time that you can get directly from Microsoft to validate some of your product ideas or some of your IP ideas. Go and make the most of it. It helps future-proof your partner status with Microsoft. As we alluded to earlier, these designations and the next various stages aren't going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, if anything, we're seeing that they're going to be assessed more regularly. So it really helps to highlight and flag that, and really is the route into any kind of co-sell conversation with Microsoft. And it ultimately increases your credibility with Microsoft sellers. We quite often talk to the fact that when we are speaking to Microsoft sellers on behalf of our partners, the first question is always, are they eligible for funding? And inevitably, you have to have your designation and your specialization in order to be eligible. So it's kind of like that first port of call. Right, now the fun part, what we want you to do and the action that we want you to take. So this is going to be a bit of a whistle-stop tour, so bear with us. First of all, at the most basic of levels, we want you to understand what the metrics you need to hit really are. So for every solution designation, as many of you will know, there are 3 metrics, this point-based model that's referred to as the partner capability score. You must have points across all 3. I speak to partners all the time. They're like, I've got loads of points. I've got well over 70 points. And I look and they've got no new customers. So it's often a challenge that we help broach. You must have 70 points in order to enroll to start with. And then you must have 70 points to renew. And we've got a whole slide on renewal in a moment. So I'm not going to steal any more thunder from that. There's a flag here of being aware of the mechanisms to associate your customers. These are different for each solution designation, and they are different for different metrics within each solution designation. We apologise for that. We'd love that to be different. We're hoping it's going to be different soon, but you should be aware of that. And also how to associate your team and their certifications. This has changed not so long ago. So we'll make sure that we put the link in the chat to how you can associate your team in a moment, all linked to Microsoft University. Yeah. Question from Maria. I'll pick this up as we're covering it now. These designations are rolling. So, as I talk about renewals, you have an open renewal window, which T, you'll keep me honest on this, I believe are on 90 days. 3 months. 3 months, cleverly. So you have your renewal window and you only have to hit the points once within that renewal window. And you'll be aware of that renewal window as soon as you enroll. So when we talk in a moment about planning for renewal, it's super important and is often one of the near misses that partners we've engaged with have. Okay, so secondly, we wanted you guys to take some time to really kind of consider your path. And firstly, kind of the key flag is sometimes it may not be the most obvious route to achieving success within your organisation. So the first step is do review the incentives guide. We'll pop the link in the chat. It updates on a regular basis. So even if you have downloaded it in the past, go and download it again because it's updated recently. Lindsay will keep me honest on this. I think it was in the last couple of days. In terms of those incentives, once you've had a look, which of them map most effectively to your current go-to-market offerings? Sometimes we see recommendations of kind of creating new offerings to match with those, and that's okay. But I think I'm quite conscious you don't necessarily want to bend your organisation out of shape just to meet with Microsoft's incentives. So just have a look, which ones may effectively map to your service offerings, your bundled packages, etc. And which align most importantly to your current customers and to your prospects. Not all customers are eligible for all of the incentives. So if you're working towards getting a solution designation and specialization to get an incentive and then none of your customers are eligible, it's a bit of a wasted effort. So just be key and be aware of that and spend a little bit of time reviewing your custom base, reviewing your kind of, account-based marketing list, your prospect list, your top hit list, your ICP even, and just play that back into the incentives guide. And then thereafter, have a real good thought about what's the next goal. Which solution designation do I need to get in order to get the specialization I need to get the incentives or the funding I need to get, and almost reverse engineer it back that way. And sort of side note, which solution designation do I need to get for any other relevant programs like Copilot, Jumpstart, or etc. And just be aware of those. And then take a bit of a pause and just have a think which ones make the most sense. And is there any other way that, if the ultimate goal is to get, the Copilot specialization, for example, we know that the minimum solution designation to attain the Copilot specialization is the modern work or the business applications solution designation. We know from history that it's often more challenging to attain the biz app solution designation. If you have any customers that you are not currently serving from a modern work perspective, is there a conversation you could be having with them to associate to their modern work environments in order to then work towards getting that modern work designation in order to get to the ultimate goal, which is being able to offer Copilot capabilities through the Copilot specialization. And then the final flag here is actually just have a look at the ones you're closest to. There's an incredible tool within the Solutions Partner Insights section that looks at fit gap and looks at steps you need to take in order to get close to attaining them. sometimes you're closer to curveball solution designations than you think. So don't dismiss those, because they might be able to leapfrog you, or you could potentially even use incentives associated to them in the short term whilst you're working towards your ultimate goal of a more appropriate one. And then, and this is something that Tamara and I talk about a lot, is who is going to own it.
Own it. Yeah, please have somebody own it.
Treat it in the same way that you would treat a project. You know, designate time and space in whoever you've assigned this capability or this role to. Ensure they've got, you know, adequate time that wouldn't otherwise be spent on working towards something that's going to drive an incentive for them or a quota hitting activity for them. Make sure they've got allocated space in order to get there, and otherwise it'll sit on the edge of their desk and inevitably be the first thing that drops off. And as we've said multiple times today, this needs constant rigor and focus and a bit of a partnership muscle put towards it. And also define the subject matter experts. Those that are responsible for ensuring customers are associated in the right way at the right point in the sales cycle to get the customer associations you need aren't necessarily the same people that should be ensuring the training plans are correct for your team and ensuring that they're associating effectively. And then make sure you get the credit. The customer associations are a massive topic in themselves, as I talked to earlier, and they are really important for solution designations, but they're also just incredible for generating additional income. You know, there's often incentives attached to making sure you associate your customers, particularly in the scenario where you haven't transacted the licenses yourself. You want to make sure that you are getting those customers associated to you through CPOR, claiming partner of record. And again, with the theory of ensure someone owns it, make sure that capturing your customer associations is built into your pre-sales, sales and delivery processes. There's flags in your CRM system of choice, hopefully Dynamics, to guide your users on going to make the ask for partner admin link, or your developers to go and do that activity themselves, and or post-sales support or development people that are going to manage your customers' expectations on what emails they're going to get as part of the CPOR process, what is expected of them at which part of the journey. So yeah, highly advised that this is really kind of taken as an activity on a real regular basis and is given ownership, and even targets are associated to individuals for them to be attaining these kind of credits. T, I don't know if you want to take us through this, because this is a particular bugbear for us at the moment, is making sure that organisations think about renewal at the start.
Yeah, it really is. We've worked with a number of partners that have worked so hard to get their partner designation. And so they, you know, we go through the process. What designation makes sense? Is it attainable? Does it unlock into internal use rights that are helpful? You know, because potentially one of the other designations might be easier to attain, but might not unlock the benefits that you're looking to achieve. So we decide that we know that what we want to go for, and then we start to sprint towards how to get there. You know, we work through making sure the association is all complete. Lucy referenced this earlier, but ensuring the association is correct. Like just for BizApps, for example, like there's 4 different options for CPOR, and if you pick the wrong one, it doesn't light up net new, it lights up usage and service usage. Microsoft have a really good guide for this. It is quite lengthy. We've created a shorter one because my attention span is needing to be shorter. But if you're not sure, let us know and we can help you there. So you finally get to associating all of your customers. You've got a point in every one of the areas to light, because you need to hit 70, but as Lucy said earlier, you need a point in all of the subsections. So we're working towards that. Then we're looking at, okay, the certifications, they've all been done, but they're missing, or somebody's done it and they're not showing, or they've elapsed, or they've said that. We've had this so many times that new people have joined the team and they've said, yeah, I've got this, but the employer never checked it. So when it actually starts to go around, they don't show, and they don't show for a reason. Anyway, we finally get we get through. We help with an incentivization program. So, if you need to hit a sprint, that you've incentivized all the right people to go and get the certifications, and we've ticked that. And then we started building the sales process into the go-to-market, any potential funding that is aligned so that we can start requesting funding and logging co-sale deals and all of that great stuff. Then all of a sudden we hit the designation, and the partner starts to utilize the funding, although that's often specialization now because that's changed. You used to get a lot more funding at designation, and it's now at specialization, but you unlock the funding and your business starts to rely on it, because we will encourage you in your sales approach to make sure you're weaving in the right ways of working with Microsoft. So everything's working well. And then all of a sudden, it's renewal time, and those 3 months have come up and you're on 41. And all of a sudden, it's panic stations again. And honestly, even no matter how much we say this, it just happens, and it happens because it's an edge of desk job most of the time. I mean, it's something that we loop into our contracts now. We've got somebody that works with us really close to the team in Cairo that helps make sure that we stay on track. So we can do that in a governance session to make sure that you're keeping on track. But if it's edge of desk, other people are going to get busy, things are going to happen, and then all of a sudden it's panic stations. And no, I've just heard it so many times recently, Lindsay. It's a pet frustration of mine and everyone else's as well, right? Because then all of a sudden it's like, these customers are missing, this is missing, this one's expired, and yeah, it's just not fun. It's not fun for anyone. So make sure that you have really clear, like, even if you're not going to do it monthly, do it quarterly, right? What's moved in what direction? Are we trending in the right direction? Partner Center, although like is quite a lot. When you get in it and get used to it, there is actually a lot of information in the Solution Designation Insights and the Specialization Insights. It'll give you little hints. This is going to expire soon. You need to fix this. And there's a don't quote me because I've probably got the name wrong, but basically a designations and specialization insight that will give you the guide of what you need to be aiming towards. So the tools are all there. Put them in place and try not to put it all on one person at your desk. Sorry, run over.
Yeah, exactly. And I think just to highlight this sprint phase, right? Normally when we start working with a partner, they're like, yes, let's go. We can get it. We've collected all these customers that we've never actually associated to. Perhaps the partner has come from an alternative technology and they know that there's good Microsoft implementation environment in their customer base. And we say, whoa, be careful. Don't add them all in the same month, because in 11 or 12 months time, you're going to have a huge issue. So do keep an offline, and I'm thinking old school, like Excel list of which customer, their rough consumption, and which month you are proactively going to take them off your top drawer and put them into Partner Center, so that you're kind of keeping a drip feed into Microsoft of, we secured this customer and this one and this one, and just make sure you manage it in that respect, because slow and steady wins the race here.
Wins the race.
Otherwise, in a year, we're going to have a huge problem.
Also,
and you'll have already become completely addicted to claiming incentives by that point. So you don't want to not have that back in your pipeline in 12 months' time. Yeah,
exactly. And something also to be aware of, you go and win that big deal. Fantastic, that's amazing. Keep some of the smaller ones, not encouraging you to sandbag, close them, but in associating them with Microsoft. If you've got you've just signed 1,000 users of Copilot in a year, we all know that there's a 35% growth increase that's needed year on year. So if you have a really good 2 or 3 months or month, it makes it difficult. So if you have a great month, make sure we're strategically associating. And if you're a CSP and it's automatically associating, a bit more difficult because it's automatically doing it. But if you're C pouring and D pouring and POW in, then be strategic.
Brilliant. And keep regular track. Tia alluded to this, but we always talk about having some sort of Microsoft partnership governance call, which covers a whole range of topics, one of which is attaining and maintaining or renewing your capabilities from a solution designation and specialization perspective. And one of the tactical things that works really well here is capturing your live attainment. We all know that there's a data refresh that's bringing in data from the Microsoft's various sources every month. On or around the middle of the month. It does change and it's not always on its publicized day, but do make sure you're doing screen grabs, store them in a central location in a OneNote or in a shared team repository so that you can keep track, because occasionally there can be anomalies that we're not expecting, so that we have to be able to reference and proof where that number has been historically and where you were anticipating it's going to be. So I know it feels counterintuitive, and I know it feels a little bit legacy, but do make sure you're keeping that track of where your points were, the customers that you've associated, the users or the team members you've associated with their certs, so that we can evidence that back to Microsoft if, and I'm not saying this is always the case, but it is often the case, that we need to create a support ticket with Microsoft to get approval for that. I'd love it if the technology always worked. It doesn't always, and I'm sure many of you have had long and in-depth conversations with Microsoft support representatives, but we do need to be able to evidence where you'd anticipate growth and points where they've not been provided. And I guess be aware of the tracks, both SMB and enterprise. This has been a pitfall that several of our partners have fallen into recently, where they've had a couple of customers look and feel like an enterprise customer as an organization themselves. Their general go-to-market is around SMB or SMC customers, these kind of more mid-market customers, but some of their customers have grown or have succeeded. Because as soon as you drop into that kind of enterprise track, and dependent on the solution designation that you're going after, the eligibility criteria to reach that enterprise track is different. So go in and have a look. It's not very obvious where it is, but there's a small line within each solution designation area that demonstrates which track you're currently working towards. Just be aware of what enterprise looks like for that track, because as soon as you hit into enterprise as a track, you immediately, have really significantly upped your requirement for certified individuals to associate to your account. So if you're a small or a growing team, or having a Microsoft practice is new to you, you're going to want to be careful to avoid that, so as not to put too much onus on your team and your net new customers next year as well.
It's not easy to keep on top of either, because if you're if you're associated by CSP and your customers, I think it's 5,000K a month. I mean, depending on, they're all different for each of the various options there. But if you have more than 5 customers, for example, that go into this threshold, at renewal, you will automatically be moved up from SMB to enterprise. So it's just worth keeping an eye on what's going on in your stack. We didn't really want to put this in the deck because it's hearsay that we're hoping is true, but we have heard that potentially you will be able to pick which track, whether you go SMB or enterprise, at some point, hopefully this year, in the early part of the year. Because there are some, like we said, we've got some customers, partners that we work with, that were up in the 70, 80, 90 in their points, tripped over on renewal, and they're now in their 10, 20, 30 on points, because the attainment is so different. So yeah, it's another one to add to the check, and fingers crossed you will be able to select it at some point in the future so that you can drop back down.
But it's not all doom and gloom. There are a ton of benefits you get once you get them, right? And we want to be super key that, again, there is someone aligned to making sure you're really, really making the most out of them. So one tip from our side is we talked to this earlier, but prepare your customer and prospect data so that when you tip over into that eligibility bucket for the funding that you've aimed for, you can immediately start having more qualified conversations. And actually start to go and make claims for those fundings, like be off the starting blocks as soon as you've got it. Prepare your commercial function. Are they aware of which funding paths are, coming down the line? Are we able to kind of track that in the CRM process? Are we kind of build that into the commercial functions quota and their kind of reporting mechanism? Do they know how to make a claim? Or probably better, where do they need to go internally to make a claim so that it can be centralized and there can be accountability on an individual shoulders for making those claims? And then also prepare the marketing function. There's a whole ton of kind of co-branded marketing assets, press releases, letters, you name it, that you can start using as soon as you get there. And finally, prepare operations. It might be that your operations team who own your kind of internal licensing at the moment, they know the current contract length date for Office or M365, Copilot Studio, you name it. Make sure they know when they're likely to be able to receive this net new internal user rights as part of your attainment, and make sure that they've got it built into their plan of when they're going to swap over. We've seen so many partners, again, just not make that swap and continue to pay thousands of pounds a month when they otherwise could be getting quite a big chunk of that for free, thanks to their attainment. Right, we are 3 minutes over. As always, we are here for questions. If you've heard anything today that you think, oh, I'd like a bit of a deeper dive into that, don't hesitate to contact us, either Tamara at oaka.studio, Lucy at oaka.studio, or our generic line info at. We will be happy to take those questions or provide you with any content that we might have to support your journey. Do feel free to pop any questions in the chat. There are a couple around, can we have that simplified guide for CPOR and customer associations? Absolutely, yes. I'll make sure it's created into a blog post so that we can keep it fresh as and when it inevitably changes, and we'll make sure we share the link. Major kudos to Michael for his live Power BI report that shows the data feed from Partner Centre.
Yeah, definitely want to have a conversation about that. That sounds super cool.
Really cool, super cool. Okay, whilst we're waiting for any potential questions, I just wanted to flag our next Oaka Partner Insights is in just over a month, actually, on the 5th of March. It's going to be hosted by our colleague and friend Nigel Ridpath, all around the conversation. Again, we've had this several times, but taking it to the next level on AI for the Microsoft partner, where to play and where to win. We would be delighted to have you there, or feel free to register, as always, and get the recording when it lands. Mark your diaries. In terms about marking diaries, for those of you that know, we run a quarterly event called Partner Pulse. Our next one is actually next week on Wednesday, the 28th of Jan. We are sold out, record-breaking sellout this quarter too. We sold out way before Christmas. We released a few more tickets. We sold out again. I say sold out. We only charge a £10 donation in order to secure your place. But these are held quarterly. The next one is in April. Feel free to jump on over to our LinkedIn page, and you can there see our Partner Pulse LinkedIn page and register for first drop of the next date and the first registration link for that. We'd love to have you there. It's a really nice community. It's a really good opportunity to meet other partners, hear from some educational presenters on hot topics in the partner environment and the partner ecosystem. And it's just a couple of doors down from Microsoft in Story Club. So super easy to get to. And there's always a good lunch and selection of drinks afterwards. We'd be delighted to have you.
I think we need a bigger venue again, Luce. We just went to a bigger venue and now outgrown it again.
I know, we're going to need to, I think Nigel referred to the next stop, O2 Arena. Challenge accepted. But we have got one question. Is there a guide as to what is required for Microsoft to record the customer associations? We don't know if it's SEEP or DEEP or PAL, POE. How does Microsoft decide which partner associations they fall into? This is the guide we're referring to, Karen. So for each metric in each Solutions Partner Designation, there is a different way of associating yourself as a partner to your customers. So we've got a quick cheat sheet of when to do it, why to do it, how to do it, and what you should be aware of when doing it, that we will share with you as soon as it's live on our blog. Fab. Well, with that, on behalf of Oaka and the rest of the team, T and I, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. Do feel free to hop on over to our YouTube channel. You can see previous recordings of Oaka Partner Insights, and also be the first to hear about when the next ones are. We've been delighted to spend almost an hour with you, and the chat is open for any questions if there is anything else you want to just pop in there. We are here to help.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.